Right? That's not how that works. That's inappropriate. Who's the sponsor? It's Covalence, the online technical trade school. You remember them, right? Yeah, they're cool. They've got their Catalyst program. They can turn you into a full stack web developer from the ground up. These dudes are the magicians of coding. No, my viewers aren't gonna go into debt. It's the most affordable it's ever been. They got this Covalence Plus program now. 39 bucks a month. You get all access pass. She hasn't paid for my membership in like 12 years. I always joke about this debacle that RuneScape throws its new players into. We've got 2 versions. All this time I thought we were special in harassing our new players like this, but WoW has taken me aback. There are not 2 versions. There are not 3 versions. There are 4 versions of World of Warcraft to choose from. And now I'm the one stumped. I'm the new player having to make all these decisions I know nothing about. I don't know if there's any wrong answers here. I don't know if one of these is more expensive or anything about classes. I've never had to play a class before. All these races, does race matter? Is that a question I'm allowed to ask? Is this classic or is that classic? And what is that? Where am I? What do I do with this? And why the hell is there 5 of these? They gave me some book. They already got me doing homework. This is hard. It's stressing me out. I don't know what choice to make. You absolute fool. I'm not making a choice. There's never been a choice to make. I will be playing every single version of World of Warcraft for the very first time. Let's get after it. I'll go into it a little bit later, but I'm really not going to be focusing on it. We're going to talk about those now. If you wanted to, you could keep your character in Classic, or you could remember how fun that first expansion was. Come on, you know you want to. So we now had an untouched 2006 version of the game, a 2007 first expansion version of the game, and the main game. Blizzard decided they were going to tend to this middle one, and by tend, I mean basically putting in updates exactly how they happened and the occasional sprinkle of microtransactions. In September 2022, those expansion servers transformed into Wrath of the Lich King, their second expansion, which is where it's at now, but it will soon be turned into their third expansion. I wonder how long they are going to let that time machine continue running. I'm sure everyone's having a great time. And then in November of 2023, we got the Season of Discovery, which is Blizzard dipping their toe in the water of a Classic Plus concept, which is basically exactly what old school RuneScape is, going back to the Classic patch, making it its own game, with its own updates. And I'll be honest, probably not going to talk about the Season of Discovery too much. It's very new. There's not much to it yet. I'll go into it a little bit later, but I'm really not going to be focusing on it. We're going to talk about those mostly. I played them a lot. Played them a lot. A player's first 20 minutes in an MMO are by far the most important, because that first 20 minutes decides if this 20 minutes will turn into an eternal uninstall, or maybe the next 10 years of monthly subscriptions and the occasional microtransaction. Most devs want that second one. No matter which version of WoW you pick to play, you have 3 massively important decisions to make immediately: your server, horde or alliance, and your class. And each one of those decisions holds the potential to completely ruin your World of Warcraft experience. But we're new and we don't know that, and we won't figure it out until we're 200 hours in. So let's not think about it too much right now. The first game I tried is Classic, and this here is footage from the very first time I ever logged into World of Warcraft.
Very typical World of Warcraft moment.
This is a typical World of Warcraft moment? This is way better than RuneScape.
Oh yeah, we're gonna be doing this a lot.
My first experience in Northshire, my first interactions, very normal interactions with other players in the game, and I knew right away I was really gonna like Classic.
Which horde did you trade to get 5 gold?
At least I thought this was Classic. It's actually turned out to be Wrath of the Lich King Classic, and I didn't know that there were 2 different versions at the time. I meant to do the first one. But when we're talking first impressions, really didn't make a difference. Now this is Classic. The original servers that millions of players remember logging into for the first time. A charmingly warm welcome into the Alliance. No tutorial island, no pop-up hints, just you being dropped in an area filled with cool-looking dudes asking you to do some shit they really don't feel like doing, and then mindlessly agreeing to it. which is a formula I'm very familiar with. Now, one of my biggest worries going into WoW was this thing right here, because I've never had one before. Every clip I've ever seen of someone using it, there's like 80 rows of these, and they're all over the screen. It looks incredibly intimidating. I didn't know how I was gonna deal with all this, but I'm thinking about it, like, this is 2006. This is the same thing that everybody learned back in the day. They all saw this and conquered it. I can do it, I hope. They introduce you to one ability at a time every other level. You literally need to purchase this new thing you're able to do, which gives you a little more incentive to learn about it. I never really struggled with my ability bar. It was always fine. Do all the quests here until you run out of exclamation points and you start doing them over there. There's not much hand-holding going on, pretty straightforward and linear, and it's enjoyable. It was a nice little system to start out the game. And once I hit level 10, I started going into my specialization. It determines what kind of gear you're going to be searching for moving forward. The new player experience here still works. It was great. I enjoyed it a lot, multiple times. Retail, on the other hand, greets new players a little bit differently. You get to make another decision after your 3 major ones, which is your starting zone. Whether you want to go to your default race classic starting zone, or the all-inclusive, every race, every side, alliance, or horde tutorial island. I did Elwynn Forest in Classic. I wanted to see what this one was all about, so I went there. I started out as a recruit for the Alliance. I was aboard this ship and we were searching for a lost expedition. Definitely much more of a tutorial right off the bat, giving you little baby book pictures of how to use your keyboard and your mouse if it's your first time on a computer. And then you go right into some basic combat tutorials. If you've ever clicked anything before, you might catch on rather quickly, but everything's completely voice acted. It looks beautiful. I loved the way that they made this game look very vibrant and pretty. I liked it. The first difference I noticed was the leveling, because there was a lot of it. I was already level 2 after the first quest, which is literally just move around and talk to another guy for a second. In Classic, I had to murder animals to earn that level 2. And then I swung at a guy like 3 times and I was leveled up again. I was immediately rewarded with 2 new abilities that were inserted right in my ability bar. I did not pay for them. I did not ask for them. I suddenly have these 2 things here. Something felt weird about it. After I proved that my mouse and keyboard work, then the real tutorial started. I'm suddenly a part of a shipwreck, a real bad shipwreck. I mean, a disastrous one. But luckily, I wash up on shore. And I kind of have to throw a wrench in this story real quick, Blizzard. There's no universe in which a recruit, essentially an extra in the background, is surviving this. I was put on this ship as an expendable member that they are willing to sacrifice for the greater cause here. There's like 15 other people on this ship that would get life support before me. But we, the recruit, have somehow washed ashore. I don't really know the significance of this island, really. All I know is that they basically speedrun you from level 1 to 10 as they dish out abilities to you like they're fucking Costco samples. I linked up with a bunch of characters, did a bunch of wacky shit with them. They sent me on a helicopter or whatever. I experimented on animals. I made a boar into this giant freak, and I used it to commit genocide on people of this native island. Very different experience here than it was in the classic version. And before I could even look up at my screen, congratulations, recruit, you've hit level 10. I know you haven't looked up at that XP bar in about 5 minutes, but yeah, you've been killing it. I fight more things, I level up more, and I get thrown into a dungeon at the end through the infamous dungeon finder. Was it a bad tutorial? No. I just feel like it wasn't all that necessary. It speed runs you to level 10, gets you some decent starter gear, but I don't believe that makes it into a better tutorial because it pushes you farther ahead. Because the tutorial here felt more like play the game. Over here, it felt more like, okay, 10 levels and then you can play the game. I wanted to compare the 2 starting zone options you have as a new player just to see the true difference, the feeling and the pacing of that early levels 1 to 10. The retail Elwynn Forest was definitely faster leveling than Classic's Elwynn Forest. It was definitely not as fast as the tutorial island. I don't think I was even going at half the pace, and I was getting set up with way better gear over there. That island might be a little OP to start. And that might sound dramatic because we're just talking about levels 1 to 10, but this is the new player experience we're talking about. This is supposed to set the tone for the rest of your experience. And it also made me realize if I had played retail before Classic and I picked the island, I wouldn't have gotten to see Elwyn Forest or travel to Stormwind for the first time. My favorite WoW moment was from my first night, because I didn't even know what Stormwind was. And my friend Jake, who I pulled back after a 10-year break from the game, walked us to Stormwind. He introduced it, and the music on my client happened to sync perfectly with his introduction to it.
This is it. Stormwind.
Whoa.
I loved that. And if you don't go through Elwyn Forest, you just get dropped off at the front gates, which is not the same. Retail also mimics RuneScape 3 in that they panic to get you the fuck out of early level. All Blizzard ever has wanted from you, your gift to them, is not being a shit low-level account. They hate that. They hate that you're not max level right now. Every video game dev deals with this problem at one point or another because it's something that very few games have ever mastered. Progression. There's an old saying that applies to a lot of MMOs, very commonly in this one: the game doesn't start until you hit level 60, or whatever the max level may be. And honestly, I understand why they say that, where that comes from. For me, simply not true. Nothing in any video game beats the euphoric feeling, the dopamine-filled experience of seeing a number that belongs to you go up. Whether you're level 5 or you're level 80, whether it's your gear upgrades or the amount of money that you have on you, if the number's going up, you're happy about it. Every time I got a gear upgrade from the minute I spawned in Northshire, I felt the actual emotion of happy. What else can do that for you over and over again? Legally, what can do that legally to you over and over again? I played Wrath the absolute most out of all games. I got a warrior to level 71 and a paladin to 80, and there was never a level on either of those accounts where I felt like I was at a dead end and there was no possible way for me to get an upgrade or progress myself, because there's so many ways that you can do it. Doing quest lines, gear upgrades. PvP, gear upgrades. Dungeons, gear upgrades. Farming reputation, gear upgrades. Giving Blizzard $15 gear upgrades. And the best part is, I could always feel the upgrades. I haven't touched on plugins much, but they're a big part of the game. And there's one plugin that a lot of players have, and it basically shows everyone's DPS in your party. And there's just a very unique feeling of disdain when your role is a DPS and you see your name at the bottom. You get filled with enough guilt to motivate you to go get better shit, which usually means running that dungeon a few more times, being at the bottom of the list. But as soon as you get those upgrades, you can see a visual confirmation of you getting better because your gear is getting better. It's so satisfying. The pacing of Classic from early level to end game just felt nice. It didn't feel too fast and it didn't feel too slow. I still had to work for things and grind a little bit, and I didn't feel stuck there for too long. There was always something to look forward to. The progression system that I experienced in Wrath just felt really rewarding, and the pacing was great all the way up until I hit level 80, which is ironic because a lot of WoW players will tell you that you don't even start the game until you hit level 80. When I hit 80, I watched my XP bar disappear right before my eyes, and a whole new progression system began. Once you hit max level, you can now wear max level shit, and you are now pushed into a whole new complicated hole that you will just keep digging deeper and deeper. You're grinding pre-raid best in slot so that you can get to phase 1 best in slot, and then phase 2 and 3 until you've got the gear so that you can play a proper role in the end game raids and get your true best in slot. And do you want to know how long that takes? Well, you gotta ask someone else, because I have no idea. I didn't do it. Shit just got complicated, dude. I mean, I was plugging my gear into a website that tells you what you need to do next and how to get it, where to do it, which usually involved looking for a 40-man raid for a chance at getting something, or doing some beta dungeon, whatever the hard difficulty is, or grinding reputation for a group of people I did one quest for one time and they need to see me as a god so I can buy a shoulder enchantment. I feel like all the levels before max is more of like a sandboxy feel of getting the gear that you feel like getting, what looks cooler. But once you hit max level, it's like a straight path that you have to follow. I don't think everyone feels that way, but that's how I felt going in. I felt like I had to follow this website and get the good gear. Otherwise, I mean, what else am I doing? I started to not feel motivated to log into the game, which sucked because I had such a fun journey to the max level. It was always fun looking forward to being a little bit stronger, or going to a new area. And suddenly I was just in the same area all the time, doing the same dungeons with the same people, and it just felt really repetitive and not very exciting. What I'm trying to say here is that once I hit max level, it almost felt like the game had finished. I just wasn't really into that grind as much. We didn't even get to explore the whole map. I still haven't even seen every region in Wrath. But when we hit level 80, why would I be going to the old zones? There's nothing for me there. My low-level grinds are far from over because I enjoyed it a lot and I look forward to doing it again. Some of the most fun I've ever had in a video game. Progression in retail kind of coincides with the story that they toss you into, but I have a whole section for the story after this, so I'm going to try and just focus on the progression side of things. And the reason that they speedrun you to level 10 and drop you off at the front gates of Stormwind is because that's a requirement to start Battle of Azeroth, and Battle of Azeroth is a requirement to start World of Warcraft, not optional. You have to do it, don't question it. Welcome to our 2017 expansion. I hope you have fun. We'll check back in with you later. As soon as I jump into this expansion and get thrown into this Kultiris place, everything I've ever known about progression is suddenly out the window. I am getting significant gear upgrades every quest. Not only that, but what in the fucking inflation is this? What is that? Every NPC that gives a quest reward is giving me dump trucks worth of gold. I mean, I'm loaded. I can sell junk items to vendors for like hundreds of gold at a time. I'm getting all the abilities shoved in. They have a new way of doing specializations, which I actually like. I get to mess around more. You can switch them up whenever. I don't even remember dying in retail. You're basically a walking god. I mean, I'm hacking and slashing my way through giant poles of mobs with no consequences. And while I'm doing that, it hits me that nobody here has called me a recruit in a while, which made me realize they're not talking about my military rank, they're talking about the difficulty of the game. So I'm soaring through this confusing quest line at what could only be a record pace. I was leveling so fast, I would go multiple levels without realizing that I had in fact leveled up. It just became more and more apparent as I went along that even though the devs forced me to come here, they really just didn't want me there at all. This lightning fast leveling is all they wanted. It's basically Blizzard saying, look, you're a new guy, you don't know shit about shit, we're gonna bring you to probably the prettiest place that we can send you until you hit level 60, and then you can come experience content that we've actually paid attention to, which I completely understand. But the problem with that is the more I did Battle of Azeroth, the more pointless it felt. All these characters I was meeting and villages I was helping, it was all just a big sham, serving as my XP boost to level 60 to take me to Dragonland, possibly as a punishment. But I do as many quests as I can, I try and get involved in the story a little bit, but sure enough, the second I hit 60, right on cue, my pager's going off, and I'm getting contacted from people in Stormwind, begging me and pleading me to return and start the Dragon Chronicles. And so I did. I went back to Stormwind, I got to the Dragon place, I think I leveled up like once or twice, and then I logged out, because I realized that through that entire experience, I had yet to talk to a single other human, even once.
This is the best day ever.
Haha. Well, looking back on retail, I think the best way to describe the progression of that game is there is none, because it never felt like I was progressing. I mean, that's just the way that it's built. Everywhere you go, mobs are scaling up with you. I'm level 32, they're level 32. If I'm 54, they're 54. I never become stronger than the mobs unless you go to like early game areas, which is just irrelevant. As I level up, I'm noticing that the monsters are just getting more annoying to kill. They just make them hit harder and have more health. Simply longer combat interactions. I never felt like I was getting stronger. I never felt like my new abilities were doing what they were supposed to do because they had more health to deal with it. And it was kind of annoying. Getting upgrades and not feeling like you got upgrades had to be the least satisfying thing I felt in any of the games. I never got to max level in retail, so I don't really know what the end game is like. It could be miles better than classic. I just never got there. By the time I got to 60 and just didn't have anyone playing with me, realizing that I had done the whole journey alone, I just didn't feel motivated to keep going, which kind of sucks because more than anything, I was really looking forward to the story. You ever try watching all of the Avengers movies, starting from Iron Man, going all the way to the very last ones that were made? I've tried that so many times, and I usually make it about 3 or 4 movies in. There's so many stories you need to tell, and there's so much explanation that needs giving. It's a lot easier to understand the Avengers series if you watch them as they came out. You experienced them at the same time as everyone else, and you were just anticipating the next movie. But if you've never watched them, and you're trying to take it all in, catch up, it's kind of miserable. I know some people can do that. I can't do it. I knew going in that WoW has an incredibly dense and really cool story. I really can't begin to tell you how disappointed I was to experience World of Warcraft's story in Classic and Retail. Classic kind of starts you off as just, you're a nobody. You've got no accomplishments, no milestones, no one knows you. You're just a guy trying to do his part and help out. You're just a very small thing in this very big world that has a lot more important things going on than you. The Elwyn Forest quest line, starting in Northshire, going to Goldshire, helping out the locals with their little Kebble problems, heading to the Alliance capital and helping some folks out around there, taking on your first mini-boss Hogger. I don't like saying his name out loud. Upsets me. You head to Westfall, start helping out the locals there, and doing your first dungeon, the Dead Mines, where you face your first real antagonist, Edwin Van Cleefus. It's just Van Cleef, but Cleefus sounds cooler. And that's where you have your first real accomplishment as a character. It's your first significant thing that you've done. And from there, well, I mean, that's kind of where they lost me. World of Warcraft quests are built for you to not give a fuck. And the way the quest pops up allows you to press accept instantly, accept the reward instantly. It's just begging you to not give a fuck. All of them are either fetch these things or kill a bunch of those. No matter what thing you're fetching or thing you're killing, it all eventually blends together into the same quest. It was hard to focus on anything lore related because I knew when I went to the next area, I would just be doing the exact same thing I was doing in the last area. My thing is questing, but I'm really glad it's in the game that I've been doing the questing on, and not this one, because the series would be a lot more boring if I did it on WoW. It is not encouraging you to read. I even went as far as downloading a plugin that uses AI voice generators of the actual characters' voices to read all the dialogue out loud. It just adds a little more sound to the boring thing you're doing. Most of the lore is revealed before, during, and after dungeons and raids. That's when the big significant things are happening in the world. That's where you can pay attention to what the characters are saying and then what's happening around you. If it were single player. Because when I get a group for a dungeon, that's the last thing I'm doing. Hey guys, you mind holding on a second? I'm not going AFK, I'm right here, but I gotta listen to what this NPC's saying real quick. Just gonna see how this plays out back here in this lore that happened 15 years ago. I would find myself outside the dungeon, kicked from the group. I'm not gonna put a pause to these people's day. Funny enough, the thing that gave me the most context for the world that I was running around in did not come from any version of the MMO. It actually came from Warcraft 3. It was a complete unintentional discovery discovery. I start seeing all these things I recognize from the MMO. I learned all about Prince Arthas and his origin story. Very bright young man, great future ahead for him. I saw Jaina Proudmoore. She wasn't getting arrested immediately the first time I ever saw her. Learned about the Burning Legion. Those guys are up to no good. Illidan Stormrage, that guy's a badass. Miss Whisperwind. There's just a bunch of cool shit happening in that game. After I played it, and I started questing again in Wrath, there was a scene that played out in some side quest in Northrend. It was something that happened with the same voice lines in the same way that it happened in Warcraft 3, but it's from a new MMO perspective, and now it's cool for me. It just felt like the moment came to life, and then realizing that doing the Culling of Stratholme fucking dungeon was actually a mission that I went through with, playing as Arthas, and now I was boots on the ground on the front lines with him doing that. It made the war crime so much cooler. And granted, Warcraft 3 didn't teach me everything about the world of Warcraft, but it gave me more context into this world I was running around in. I knew more about certain characters, I knew the origins of certain places that existed. It just enhanced the overall immersion of running around the world doing these quests that started to feel repetitive. The fact that I did have to go play a whole different game to understand the world more and feel that immersion, you shouldn't have to do that. I know some people say the books are really good for lore. I haven't checked them out myself. If you've read any of the books and recommend them, let me know. Maybe they suck and one of you will save me. Classic has a very old school way of telling the story where you kind of have to force yourself to be more invested in the story if you want to understand it. I will say, this is something that they actually did make a big effort to improve on. Now, since RuneScape 3 has microtransactions, transmog, and the story going for it, I was very excited to see how retail told their story. And unfortunately, it has far too many of them. On top of all of the original content from the launch of the game in 2004, World of Warcraft has had 9 expansions full of new areas, new races, new quests, new storylines, catastrophic events that change the entire video game. There is so much that has happened. Me pulling up to retail with intent of understanding the world is a lot like a baby strolling up to understand anything. This is a terrible metaphor. Blizzard sees new players as nothing more than babies. They arrive knowing 0 things, they've contributed nothing, and they're annoying because you have to teach them shit now. Blizzard hates babies, is what I'm going for here. It's just never going to be easy for a new player to understand the lore of World of Warcraft after everything that's happened. I could do as much research and read the books as much as I want. I could make myself a Quizlet to really make sure I nail down the hard facts of how this universe was formed. But what I came to realize is MMO stories are not like other stories. They're their own thing, their own genre, their own structure and format. A universe like World of Warcraft is not going to be like the Avengers universe or the Harry Potter or Star Wars universe that can be told. MMO stories are something that you have to experience. It's the old expression, you had to be there, and I wasn't there. Well, hold on a second. What about that feature that Blizzard put in, letting you experience all the expansions? Oh, you mean Chromie, one of the jankiest, nonsensical systems ever put into a video game ever. 5 times I have tried to experience the expansions in World of Warcraft through Chromie, a system designed to let you go experience all of these. Whether you're a veteran player who just wants some nostalgia and wants to do the stories again to level up your character, or you're a new player and you want to experience them chronologically or something, and every single time, without fail, it somehow broke. Let's say you enter the Legion timeline. Even though you've somehow transported to this new dimension, you are really not transported anywhere. All the exclamation points and the quests of the current timeline are still there, waiting for you to fuck it all up. The battle for Azeroth needs you so bad, we were willing to time travel backwards with you to ask for your help again. Like, you can really screw your game up. At one point, I had 3 Anduins in Stormwind Keep in different rooms. Cutscenes were playing so out of order, and I had no idea what was going on. I was paralyzed. And not to mention, when you do pick a new timeline to experience, you're often phased, which means you're only gonna see other players that are also in your timeline, which is usually, even in the most populated servers, nobody. You are alone. You have just transformed into a single-player video game. It's one thing to play an MMO like it's single-player, but when you literally see nobody else and it feels like an actual single-player game in this giant universe, it feels creepy. It actually made me miss seeing Moonguard Goldshire. Seeing that place empty was weird. I really did try Chromie. I was excited to try because I did want to experience all these expansions. I waited a long time to play World of Warcraft. I wanted to know the stories. And even if I did have a smooth Chromie experience, it was still an MMO expansion. Nobody remembers experiencing those things without other people around them. People discovering new areas at the same time, fighting new mobs at the same time, going into new dungeons and raids together for the first time, having their world at the time changed in a major way. There's a lot more to the Warcraft story than just facts on a timeline. This is one of the biggest gaming universes ever created, and the story goes far beyond just the NPCs and the areas being put into the game. There was stuff that wasn't added by the devs. There's something about being a part of that expansion as it happens that just can't be told. Unless you start releasing the expansions again. But even then, it's just not going to be the same. I am a hero. I am a champion. How did I earn these titles? Don't worry about it. They wouldn't be calling me that if it weren't true, would they? What? You can do a lot at level 10. I talk about this whole hero concept a lot because I personally believe that players should not be that. I think that's kind of boring. It's predictable, it's linear, it's just not relatable. Most people do like 2 heroic things in their life, and after they do it, no one's calling you a champion. You just go home to the same house, making the same money. Your boss doesn't think you're a hero because you clocked in late. When I walk into Stormwind Castle and talk to whoever may be king at the time, I want them to look at me with no trust and no faith, no matter what I've done in the past. I want the king to feel like they are rolling the dice every time they send me on an important mission. No earning ranks or titles. The title of champion doesn't make me hit harder, does it? Don't call me a champion, just get me a cooler sword. But yeah, you're just by default a hero. I went in and tested this because I was really curious how you're supposed to be inducted into this title. When you start out and you go to the tutorial island, they're calling you recruit. You know, you just got here. You've done nothing.
Bold new recruit.
Recruit. All right, recruit. Good to see you, recruit.
When you finish the tutorial and you get dropped off at Stormwind, there's 2 ways you can go about it. There's a continue tutorial route, and then there's a skip tutorial route. If you continue on the tutorial route, they'll still refer to you as recruit. If you skip the rest of the tutorial, you are now a hero immediately. Something you have no idea about has happened between you walking across the bridge into Stormwind.
Champion.
You've done something very significant, apparently. No matter which way you went, as soon as you get to Kul Tiras, you are again a champion hero guy. The recruit thing has just been abandoned entirely. It actually became like a bit as I was playing through the story of everyone looking up to me and claiming I've done these amazing things as if they've got the wrong guy. It kind of made the story a little funny. It's not the way they intended it to play out. Battle of Azeroth. It was honestly pretty cool. Didn't understand a singular thing happening. The initial cutscene of Jaina being arrested by her mom. I don't know what Jaina did. I don't know the story. I even tried looking it up. I don't think I found what I was looking for. You're just supposed to know this terrible thing that Jaina Proudmoore did to her mother and all her people because she got arrested. That was enough proof. But I liked Kul Tiras. I think it had a lot of pretty places. Each section of it has its own wacky shit show going on that you are suddenly responsible for fixing. A lot of the characters were really goofy. I liked a lot of their dialogue. It was a nice change up from Classic because they figured out a way to make these fetch and kill quests more immersive. Every fetch and every kill felt like it served a purpose. One of the first things you do is infiltrate a bad guy camp and save children from being child labor slaves. You know, you're going and interacting with something a certain amount of times, but you're saving children. And you went and got intel and you fought little bosses in there. It felt more quest-like. And also, I got to shoot a cannon down at pirates like it was 1944 Normandy Beach which was awesome. There was also a part where I got to do some crazy stuff in a robot. That was cool. It kept crashing my game, but it was cool while I did get to do it. I got some witch hunter people together. I raided a witch town. That was cool. There was good little mini stories here and there. There was some like war thing happening where you go and invade little islands. I didn't really understand that part too much. But it gave me rewards sometimes. Even though I leveled multiple characters through the Battle of Azeroth, I never got to finish it because the leveling happens so fast that you only get to help out like some of the villages before you're level 60 and everything just feels pointless. I wanted to leave. Everything just feels very drawn out because you know that you can leave at any time and start something cooler. And not to mention, as soon as you hit 60, you are again bombarded with NPCs you've never met, begging you to return to Stormwind and start the dragon quests. They're way cooler than what you're doing now. Cold Tears can figure out all the rest of this stuff on their own. I'm sure they'll be fine. Just come on home. Dragonflight, their most recent expansion, I don't understand it at all. It's filled with a bunch of characters that I don't know. Fucking floating rhinos. I didn't get to experience a lot of Dragonflight. I don't know. I wasn't really into it. That's about all the story I experienced. I hope Cold Tears will be alright. I deserted them and didn't do the thing I deserted them for. So, probably not the best guy in their eyes. I had a lot of fun with the WoWs. The World of Warcrafts, it's plural. But what I am most looking forward to is how they move forward with Season of Discovery. It's their chance to redo the timeline. When you have the opportunity to literally time travel, you should probably take the opportunity. Imagine getting to make World of Warcraft again. Classic Plus has the biggest appeal to me because all the stuff I was talking about with not getting to experience the expansions and just kind of feeling out of the loop, this is the opportunity to create a new timeline that everybody, veteran and new players, get to experience together. Releasing old expansions doesn't really do this, but releasing brand new expansions or areas that have never been experienced by anybody before, that's the way to do it. It's taken a long time for WoW to figure out what is a smart move. Classic Plus really does look like the future of World of Warcraft. So I think my final verdict here, if you're a new player looking to try World of Warcraft, if you're playing with your buddies who are just as committed as you are, look to the two classic options. Kind of balance out which one you want. One's a little faster, one's a little more grindier, but more rewarding. If you're by yourself, try retail, because there is a lot more opportunity with story. I personally did go in and try those original Elwyn Forest Westfall quests, and they really did polish a lot of that stuff, and maybe you'll have more luck than I did. Maybe you're a lot more competent than me at setting Chromie up and following the storylines. That's all I got on it, I think. It was a good time. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a party to attend.
Oh my god, it's so good!
This is probably the greatest WoW series I've maybe ever seen. Gentlemen, yesterday we watched a very big video. We watched a massive fucking video. Today we return, and we're going to watch the end of the line. Barney's new video. It is fucking time. Who's ready? Let's go. Turn it down a little bit. The wait is over, yep. All right, let's do it. Goof Troop. I remember them from the old video. Holy shit. I hope that Barney actually gets scarab board. I really do. I hope it happens because it is the ultimate story of triumph. Here we go. End of the line.
You know, honestly, I don't know why I made the intro so melancholic. I mean, sure, I don't get Scarab Lord, but this is a joyous occasion, no? 2 videos, 1 year?
Imagine
Wow.
that.
Who saw that coming? Now, don't ask me for anything ever again. Oh, and just real quick, the reason this says 7 out of 32 quest complete, even though I left you on 3 out of 32, is because I added 4 to the total that I finished later that don't have, like, a standard hand in. I just figured it would be easier to do it now because if I do it later, you guys might be like, wait, the number has gone up, but no quest was complete. Anyway, with that said, the video's starting. Oh, wait, that means I have to edit a transition or play Dota. Welcome to the final episode.
All right, let's see it.
19th of August, 2020, 2:12
Volume up?
AM.
Okay.
We join yours truly approaching the caverns of time outside of which
I got it.
Anachronos is waiting patiently to speak with us. Now that I have secured my reputation as the greatest bug slayer of all time,
Wow.
Anachronos is finally willing to stop being a child and talk to me. Like, do you not know who I am? I'm the main character of Grobulus. I literally grinded through 11 bug farms. This guy should be sucking
main
my
character of
contrary
the
to his
server. I
neutral
like
opinion
that.
of me, though. Anachronos tells me I am the hope of Kalimdor, and then
Wow.
graciously offers me a terrible ring to aid in my travels.
Amazing.
If there was ever any question that this game's design has always been malicious, this quest proves it. Wow,
Yeah.
did you just beat the most insane grind we've ever put in the game? Nice. Here's your downgrade, dickhead. Quest.
Yeah, here's a ring that's worse than what you got in Molten Core.
Complete. Next up, Anachronos says, hey, you know that red stone you keep ominously including in all your cinematics? Go check it out. So we go check it out, and that's when we get the
Okay.
lore dump I explained in episode 1. You guys remember that, right? With the bugs and the dragons and the useless archdruid
yeah.
smashing the scepter
Oh,
so no one
yeah.
can open the gates ever again.
Those were the good days.
Quest complete. I was then summoned back to Anachronos, and this is the point in the quest line where it's revealed we need to be the ones to find those gems and rebuild that scepter, because Anachronos is too depressed to do it himself or something. Same. The whereabouts of the gem.
I don't know why we had to do it for him either. I didn't read that part of the quest. I did this back in Wrath of the Lich King before it
This
got
is,
removed.
of course, a complete mystery. Even though Anachronos appointed a guardian for each gem after the Archdruid had his little Joker moment.
The Farian, that was a
I guess
mistake.
that wasn't his Joker moment. His Joker moment was probably when he joined Ragnaros in Cataclysm, huh?
That guy
That's
was
still
just
so
an
shocking
asshole.
to me, too. Like, Ragnaros wanted this guy as his right-hand man? This
Yeah.
guy? I mean, I know Executor set the bar low, but this guy he just took L's non-stop for like 1,000 years. That's like
He's
his
a
lore.
loser.
Even his gimmick achievement is harder than his encounter. I'm getting sidetracked. Each gem was appointed a guardian.
That actually
but
is
for one
true.
reason or another. Every single
Yeah.
guardian has
That actually
abandoned
is
their
true.
duty. But I've played Dark Souls 3, so I already know how this one goes. We are told to prepare for the worst, and we are sent on our way.
All right.
Quest complete. Wow. So this is the part where the questline breaks into 3 separate threads. Each thread follows the search for one of the 3
Different
gems, and these
shards
can
of the
be done
scepter.
in any order. If you collect all 3 gems, you can bring them to Anachronos, and he will use them to craft the scepter of the Fuck this. It's the last episode. Just get through it. If you get the scepter, you get the mount, okay? But because this questline is wibbly wobbly, you could do it in any order. It's so wacky. To prevent any confusion on your part, you can check the title card of each section to know which questline we're currently progressing. You can also see how many total
Oh my
quests I've
God.
completed and
This
how
shit
much
was
time is
so
left until the
complicated.
gates open. I'm spoon feeding you the content.
Oh my
I'm also
God.
just taking the time now to let you know that we have entered full chronological storytelling, bitch.
fuck?
The rest of this video takes place chronologically over 29 hours, which is now 28 hours. It's not looking good. But you want to know what is looking good? The Barney Beekeeper plushie. Wow. I designed it myself.
Wait,
the real
what?
magnetizable hands let you replace the weapons with actual knives. My lawyers have
What?
told me to inform you that was a joke. Please do not replace the weapons with actual knives.
Oh my God.
Absolutely can. Render your entire
We can
life's
actually
work
get one of
corrupted
those?
with one touch of the
I might
magnet
get
hand.
one. That's
Oh, no.
awesome.
I've corrupted my hard drive. As with
Jesus.
any plushie, you can put it on your desk, your bed, or even in the corner of your room.
Yeah, that
Safe
is
in the
really
knowledge
cool.
It will stay exactly where you left it. Any reports that the Barney Beekeeper plushie is actually alive have been greatly exaggerated.
Of course.
He's undead. Fuck it. Mask on. Now they'll never know it was me. When they said, hey, this is too much for one plush, I said, shut the fuck up. I wanted to have a hood as well. Hood now included. As it turns out, spending 3 years making the best World of Warcraft video series on the platform isn't the most financially responsible thing you can do. Which is why you're all gonna buy the plush so it was worth it, right? Right?
Absolutely. 100%.
Just kidding, guys. Only buy the plush if you like it. But I should tell you, if we don't sell out, I'm never uploading again. TheBeekeeper.shop. A link in the description. Fucking bird.
So this is the plushie's a real thing then.
As Shara, named after the Night Elf Queen who did the thing. You'd think
Yeah.
this zone would present
She really
endgame
fucked this
challenges
stuff
worthy
up.
of its namesake, but actually it's pretty fucking dead. But that's because
Yeah.
as Shara was never intended as a questing zone to begin with, it was
Is this
meant
supposed to be a battleground?
Dota. Don't believe me?
Yeah.
I'm about to blow your mind. Originally designed as an instant
Yep.
battleground, as Shara
We
had
watched this
3
video,
lanes,
I remember
2
this.
large jungles, and a river
This shit
running
was
down
crazy.
the middle. Does this sound familiar? It's implied
Alright.
that the two teams
Yo,
would
thanks, Cody. I
advance on
appreciate
each
that.
other
Thank you,
until
dude.
one base fell. But it must have been really fucking
very
boring
much.
because it was scrapped super close to release, and now as Shara exists like this. Now, I don't blame Blizzard for scrapping their Dota battleground. They never did quite figure out that 3-lane gameplay.
No, they
But I do
never
blame
figured
them
out
for
that
doing
well.
nothing with the zone in 12 years. Remember the big cannon? I don't
That
think
they said
Blizzard
we were
does.
gonna be able to
Anyway,
shoot?
we're here to talk to this big dragon. This is Azhagos. Hi, I'm Azhagos. You might remember
And
him
he
from
gives you the
closing the
quest.
gates 1,000 years ago. But what you might not know about Azhagos is that he is the blue dragonflight. Oh wait, hold on. He is the blue dragonflight's trinket keeper, which basically
What?
means he's every blue dragon's bankroll, and he fucking hates it. He despises the fact that whilst every other blue drake is off in the
I didn't
Nexus
even know that was
banging
a
mana
thing.
straight from the source, having the sickest parties of all time, he's stuck in
Yeah,
fucking
true.
Azshara, dead zone, no bitches, guarding other people's stuff from dickheads like me.
Yeah, they got rid of him
1,000
in like
years ago,
Cataclysm, I
Anachronos
think.
gave the blue scepter gem to the blue dragonflight to keep safe forever. So what that actually meant was Azhagos was given the blue scepter gem to keep safe forever. And just like any dragon who is guarding a one-of-a-kind gem, Azhagos would be targeted by more treasure hunters than ever before. And
Yeah.
Azhagos was pissed. 500
Yeah,
years
we
later,
killed him a few fucking times.
I don't need a wife. My job fucks me. At this point, Azhagos had lost count of the amount of attempts made on his
Okay.
life because of this damn gem. And just like with literally any Blizzard character, if you give them enough time, he became unhinged. And then he fed the blue scepter gem to a fish.
You know, now that I feel... Wait. Oh, yeah. That actually... This, by the way, is not an exaggeration. This is actually what happened in the story.
Present day. I cannot take 5 steps without some crazed orc or human trying to thrust a sharp stick into my hide. Looks like life didn't get
Yep.
any better for Azhagos after all. That'll have to wait until Cataclysm, when he enters into a romantic relationship with a spirit healer. Real, actual lore, by the way. So now we know the fate of the blue gem, one of the trillion... fish healer. We'll have to wait until Cataclysm, when
What?
he enters into a romantic relationship with a spirit healer. Real, actual...
Oh, my God.
lore, by the way.
I didn't know
so now
that.
we know the fate of the blue
I
gem.
never
One of
fucking
the
knew that.
trillion
Wow.
Fish in the sea ate it. Also, because he's currently
This
in his
dude's
wacky,
fucking ghost.
unhinged, edgy. It's not a phase. Azhagos enchanted that same fish with arcane properties for the
Okay.
lulz in the hope it would become a giant
Just
sea
for
monster
fun.
who terrorizes fishermen.
Just to
However,
do
he
it.
does throw us a bone and tells us that if we make a
Baba Booey.
out of arcanite, the arcane properties of that metal should attract the fish, which is probably not a fish anymore, but some kind of sea terror. Azhagos gives us a ledger to take to a contact of his in
Oh my
Tanaris,
God.
whom he describes as
Ner-
a terrible, terrible psychic,
The
but an
fucking
amazing
gnome.
engineer. With any luck, perhaps this guy can help us out.
I
and if
remember
not,
this.
well, that sucks
Yeah.
because Azhagos is done talking to us.
I said good day, sir!
I fucking hate these dragons. Well, time to head to Tanaris and find this engineer. Or rather, time to wait for my summon crew to summon me right there, huh? Gaming. Handing over the blueprints to the engineer.
See, that's power gaming right there. That's being the main character of the server, okay, guys?
We ask him if he can make the Arcanite Baba Booey, to which he responds, "Can't even read this shit, bro. It's in Draconic." Another funny little
Oh,
prank from
no.
our friend Azhagos, who, by the way,
Draconic for
according to the
dummies.
quest dialogue, knows the engineer can't read Draconic, which
God.
means he did this shit on purpose. I am laughing, Lord. I'm gonna kill Azhagos. Even though he can't read
This, by the way, is the best questline Blizzard's ever made.
Draconic. The engineer says he's willing to give it a shot anyway.
Yep.
He'll just need a couple of items beforehand. The first item he needs is a Draconic translation guide, which is a completely reasonable ask. The second thing he needs are his reading goggles that
That's
his ex-BFF
easy.
stole from him.
No problem
Sure,
at all.
whatever, he needs them to read. And the
Absolutely.
third thing he needs is a 500-pound chicken. Okay, this fucking guy.
Oh,
According to
yeah.
his pondering orb, his ex-BFF is either hiding just outside of Gilneas fapping to furries, or somewhere in Outland being pursued
all
by the
about
Burning
that.
Legion. Luckily for me, we don't need to wait until TBC to find him. Quest complete. But we will need to wait to find those goggles because he dropped them in Molten Core. It is at this point I realized had I not left that Peace Bloom DKP earlier on in the week, I
Oh
would have
my
been
God,
locked in
I forgot
Molten
all
Core
about
and
that.
unable to even attempt this part of the quest. So thank you, Dawnbreakers, for hosting a scam DKP and being so unnecessarily hostile when questioned about it. Without you, none of this is possible. But we're gonna need
I feel like I've never been in a DKP raid that wasn't a scam. Like, every single one that I was ever in, including the ones that I was leading, they were all scams. Every single one.
to put a pin in that because I'm leaving this raid group and joining.
It's like, oh, it's a
Thor's.
rounding
Why?
error.
Because it's
Oh, it's
almost
not a big
7
deal.
p.m., which means the Winter Court
Just a
are
rounding
raiding
error.
Blackwing Lair. Among the 3 shards, the red shard is by far the easiest to obtain, as it was given to Nefarian, and I literally kick the shit out of this guy every week. But as I mentioned
No
last
problem.
episode, the
Easy
overwhelming
enough.
majority of my guild are already locked to every raid after helping secure 10 Scarab Lords. If I wanted to
Oh
attempt
my
the segments
God.
of the questline that take place within raids, I would have to, and this is
Pug
literally my guild's
BWL.
catchphrase,
Figure it out. 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 Figure it out.
Yo, figure it out.
figure it out. And so I figured it out. In fact, I figured it out ahead of time.
I'm gonna tell you guys, like, I've tried to do a BWL pug on Monday night. Whew. That's something, let me tell you. That really is something.
Because I'm always numbers steps ahead. Yesterday, when I was still farming bugs, I was also reaching out to pretty much every guild in GDKP
Yeah, of
on
course.
the server who I knew was raiding tomorrow to see if anyone could fit me into a Blackwing Lair run. I received only
Makes sense.
2 responses back and thus was given a choice. Not between 2 guilds per se, but between 2 different risks. You see, the red shard only drops from Nefarian if you beat Blackwing Lair within 5 hours of
So
starting
you have
the
to have a
second
good group.
encounter. If you fail, you actually get a bad ending letter sent to your mailbox from Nefarian
Wait,
himself,
really?
where he basically just flames you for being too slow. It's pretty
Wow.
funny and
I didn't even
completely
know
deserved,
that.
to be honest. But therein lay the first
We
guild's
never
risk,
failed
a
ours.
self-proclaimed casual guild that doesn't require world buffs or even consumes to raid. As someone who is used to sweaty, pathetically optimized, no fun allowed, clear comms, sub 1 hour speedruns, I was no doubt hesitant to accept that offer. And then there was the second guild, a self-proclaimed hardcore guild who had the rep and logs to back it up. Clearing in time wasn't up for debate, so why did I hesitate to say yes? Well, I made
The
a lot
guild
of
could
enemies
suck.
during my time
Yeah.
in the desert, and how strange, they are now inviting me to BWL? Now what would I do if I was them?
Because what you would do is you would fucking get him locked to the first boss, and then as soon as that shit is over, then just immediately kick them out of the raid. That's what I would do. Like, I would get the person locked, and then kick them out immediately fucking after.
invite me for my first boss kill, then kick
pulling
me
that
once I was
bullshit on
saved
me.
for the raid, thereby failing my quest, locking me out of BWL for the week and ruining Scarab Lord for me? I
Yes.
mean, it's objectively funny, and they
Yes,
might
it
have
is.
gotten away with it too if I wasn't numbers steps ahead. But if it's one
Yep.
thing I can just never say no to, it's the chaos of a cursed casual run.
Oh no. Oh no, they're really gonna try that. Oh no.
Welcome to Blackwing Labs.
Speedrun edition! Right away, this was already the most unique run of BWL I had
Oh,
ever been
no.
to. Instead of being Warlock summoned inside a wall like a sweaty geek
This
and
is
zoning
not
in for
good.
free, we had actually met up in-game as a raid group,
Oh,
like,
wow.
socially, and cinematically approached BRM from the rear. This
Wow,
was
just like the
fun
old
for me
days.
because I'm a rogue, and we like it from behind.
Oh, I've
do
heard
it from
about that.
behind? So this is the first boss, Razorgore the Untamed, which I'm guessing is an ironic name because we'll be using this Orb of Domination to force him to murder his
to
own
tame him.
children. That's
Yes.
pretty fucked up, but completely necessary. Because his mortality is tied to the eggs. If we were to just...
That is really kind of crazy whenever you think about it. You're mind controlling him to kill his own eggs? That's fucked up.
Razorgore and kill him, the eggs would explode upon his death, dealing massive damage and killing everyone. So you kill ads, kill the eggs, and then you kill the boss. Are you picking up
Easy
what
enough.
I'm putting down, bitch? But guys, I won't lie, this raid is really scaring me. They're cracking jokes on the mic, and they're not clearing comms. And worst of all, I think they're having. It sounds like they're having
Are we supposed to play Daddy now?
fun.
I feel like it's so funny to me that Tips hasn't streamed in like 2 years, and Clear Comms is still one of the biggest memes in Classic WoW.
No one follow me.
No one move.
No one follow
No
me.
one move.
Get away from
Stop.
that door. Next up, I and I alone have to enter the second room and speak with Veilstrass to start the Red Shard quest.
Yeah, that's
The
easy.
5-hour timer starts now. A wise man once said the purest essence of WoW's gameplay is standing and hitting.
Where's
if
the
that
world
is to be
buffs?
true, then Veilstrass is the most World of Warcraft fight World of Warcraft has to offer, because
That was
wow, I'm
Uber
doing a lot of
Danger who said
standing,
that.
and with a buff that doubles your damage, you're gonna do a lot of hitting too.
Yes.
What's especially great about Veilstrass is that the double damage buff carries over to the next couple
You
of
can
trash
use it for the
mobs if you're
trash,
fast
yep.
enough, making the journey to the suppression room that bit faster. And believe me, you'll be thankful for it, because this is the part where the raid slows to a grinding.
This is the worst part of all Classic.
Welcome to the
This and
suppression room.
Cthulhu trash.
Designed by Satan in Hell, this room features numerous
Sucks
traps which
massive
slow
big
you by
dicks.
90%. These traps can only be disarmed by rogues.
Yeah, the depression
The time
room.
you
There
disarm
you
them
go.
for is random with no tell, and whelplings constantly spawn around each trap. And that's just the stage hazard. Because
A little
yes,
bit of
whilst
fun,
you have
right?
to manage those
What's wrong with a
traps,
little bit
there
of
are also
fun?
trash mobs you have to clear on the way through. But I don't get to do damage because I got
fucking
ferry
hate
the
doing
raid
this,
through.
man.
It is a tedious, completely
It was
unfun
awful.
shit show of a section that spoils the pacing in what is an otherwise A-tier raid.
Yeah,
In my
Blackwing Layer
opinion,
was
the
awesome.
next boss, Broodlord Lashlayer, is a completely brain-off tank and spank. You just stand and hit. It's classic WoW. If you die to this boss, you're a complete fucking noob. You just stand and hit. It's classic WoW. If you die to this boss, you're a complete fucking noob.
True,
Nobody
true,
died,
so true.
So it was good.
Roll on the head if you're on the quest line. Wait, I thought Barney was
All
getting it for
DPS
sure.
is going to be on Skull and X, except for one mage, and the mage will tank the techs, because we don't use sappers in this guild, because we're incredibly
Wait.
casual.
Wait,
I think I might throw up. After pulling 4 packs of techies with no sappers, we were ready to engage the
oh
hardest
no, you
boss of
don't
the
need the
raid,
head. That's right,
Firemaw.
I forgot. You already had it. Yeah,
Firemaw,
I got
by all
confused.
definitions, is objectively a well-designed fight, fulfilling literally every class fantasy in one encounter. The tanks get to be slapped around and boiled alive for the duration of the fight. Melee
really
get to
fun.
risk their lives trying to pass, gambling on stack resist so as to avoid downtime moving out, and range get to stand back and safely press their one button. And it sounds so easy, right?
Bunch of stacks, guys. Bunch of pure six.
It is so easy, but it's the hardest boss in the dungeon. If you can beat Firemaw, you can beat any boss in Classic WoW. Firemaw is the hardest boss probably in all of Classic WoW.
Careful. Oh, I'm down.
You would be mistaken. Also, because this is horde gameplay, you really gotta watch that threat.
When do I...
Oh no.
good.
Oh no.
Alright.
Yep.
the first time I've ever seen
Yep, that's a good old-fashioned Monday night BWL. We're just having a little bit of fun, wiping on the boss again. Just good old days.
I blame Barney, honestly.
Just die now.
No.
Just die now. So anyway, we've got 5 hours, and, you know, it's gonna be fine.
It's gonna be fine. Yeah.
We're not gonna make it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Rez up, rust off, cape on, bait on, cap on.
Oh,
this
God.
doesn't usually hap on. Let's try this again.
Yes, it
and On
does.
this pull, the Winter
Shut up.
Court
Yes,
lived
it
up to
does.
their name because this pull.
Was fucking frosty. Look, Mum, I'm pumping.
We then pull the rest of the techies with no sappers, and I go over to this table to pick up this book, which is actually Chapter 7 of Draconic for Dummies.
Yep.
I'll need to collect Chapters 1 through 8 in order to make a complete book for the Engineer, which I am now.
God, dude, like I think back on the tale of high adventure that this quest really gave you. Like this quest, in my opinion, I feel like this is the apex pinnacle of human existence was this quest in World of Warcraft Classic. It was so good. And you had to kill a chicken.
Realizing in the moment, hold on, I don't even know that in character yet. Hold on, I haven't even picked up the quest that allows me to loot chapters.
Yeah, what the fuck is that?
Give me.
Wait, what?
Give me 1 sec. Can I get a?
Oh my god, he didn't get the quest. Oh my god.
It is at this point I turn Questy on and reload my UI. When I load back in, I am
It's
dead.
so
I
dumb.
figure, fuck it, Death Warp. It is a speed run after all.
We'll take
It's
a short
so
break while
fucking
Barnaby
dumb,
gets
man.
Back on the quest, we won't pull another boss. shouldn't take that long. The part that
Guys, we're not gonna make it. My summon team then summons me to a remote island off the southern coast of Tanaris, where the engineer supposedly buried a copy of Draconic Economies some years ago. When we dig up the book, quest complete.
So, like, what you had to do is you would have to sail out to an island. You know, like in Lost Ark, where you can go off the map and find, like, special little areas? So, in WoW, there was, like, one island at the very bottom of Tanaris, and you had to swim off of the island and do that. So, they had to summon her out there so she could get that one, and then after that, then you can get all the different pages. Because I remember doing this. Again, it was one of the best fucking experiences, but it was very fucking frustrated.
It actually turns out to be a ransom note addressed to the engineer. I figure the fastest way back to the engineer is to unstuck to the Gadget Sand graveyard.
That's a smart
and then
idea,
move
actually.
north. Instead, Blizzard's patented go fuck yourself unstuck
Westfall.
technology actually teleports me to Kargath. And my summon team have already hearthed to Silithus.
What?
So, I get a summon to Silithus, fly to Tanaan, hand over the ransom note, quest complete, and then pick up the next quest. And this is where I realize in the footage, actually, I didn't even need to go on this tangent at all, and it will make sense
Wait, really?
later. This has just been a certified idiot moment. But in
I thought you had
fairness
to
to
do
me,
that.
I had not slept in like 20-something hours. If I got a little latency in the brain, you know why. Also, I literally traveled through time.
We now return to Blackwing Lair.
Okay, I'm back in the raid. Summon me because I'm bougie, though. Ooh, and the
Okay.
trash has been cleared in my absence? All according to plan. Now, if I was to tell you that the next two encounters, Ebon Rock and Flame Gore, involve a lot of standing and a lot of hitting, would you forgive...
It is literally the easiest fucking, these are the easiest fucking bosses in general. Somehow champion trash. Yeah, look, guys, can we not do this again today? Like, holy fuck, could we just not do it? Like, nobody gives a shit. Like, could we just please not fucking do this shit? Like, yes, Barney is trans. Like, there's a male character, so sometimes I accidentally say he, because I'm looking at the character. Listen, I don't care about what your opinion about it is. I don't give a fuck. Please, I just don't, like, literally nobody cares about what your take on people being trans is. Just fucking move on, guys. Barney's not a guy, and Barney's not a girl either. Barney's a rogue. That's the best fucking thing about video games, is the fact that Barney is a rogue. Shut the fuck up. Enjoy the story.
Me for jumping ahead. Oh, that's too far. Man, partial wipe to trash? That's harder than the bosses? What a Warcraft,
Imagine
baby.
that.
How much longer do we have, Barnaby?
We got, like, an hour, like 2 hours, so we're fine. I mean, we're not gonna make it. The next boss, Cro-Maggus, is basically another one of those run-in, run-out fights. The only difference with this one is that there are random debuffs that will infect random players at random intervals. 4 of the 5 of these debuffs are completely negligible, though, and don't really require a second thought since they'll just be purged off you. But if you are unlucky enough to receive the 5th debuff, the Bronze Affliction,
You just
will
use the sand.
periodically
Yeah,
be
it's the sand.
frozen in time. There is only one known cure, and it is eating magic sand. But I'm trying to kick the stuff, you know, so I'm okay to sit through the 10-minute deal. Oh, why would...
Okay, well, that's good.
I mean, one little bite can't hurt, right? I mean...
Oh, no.
I gotta stop eating sand.
Do you remember whenever they said at the beginning of the first video, don't eat the sand? Oh, no. Oh god, here we go.
The Nefarian fight. Will this self-proclaimed casual guild see me through to a
This
red
is not
shard,
good at
or will
all.
this be where my Scarab Lord tale ends? Well, the main healer
Sand
of the raid
enjoyers,
did just
yeah,
find out that
clearly.
if you right-click Benediction, it turns into Anathema.
Me for it.
Something weird to my benediction.
So I'd say we're off to a good start.
So
Okay.
right-click it again in your inventory.
This is incredible.
No, it's on a half-hour cool.
Wait, she doesn't... Bro, I told you guys, like, classic players, as I said, big, slow, hairy, stupid, woolly mammoths. And they're going extinct. Oh. 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 That's what it's like, right there.
Guys, we're not gonna make it!
And with that said, Barnaby, this is your thing, so why don't you go talk to your boy?
Oh, okay. Of course, no final boss of any raid would be complete without the arbitrary minutes of killing ads before the main guy even shows up, but this phase is incredibly simple and is definitely not cause to freak out. So I have no idea why the people in Discord were freaking out so much. In fact,
was it Tip's raid that was wiping in phase 1 of BWL? Like, I remember seeing a video of a guild just becoming absolutely overwhelmed and overrun by these mobs. It was so fucking funny.
They were freaking out so much I heard my first
clear comms
of the entire raid. And when the casual guild says clear comms, that's when you know things are bad. For those that don't know this fight, once you kill 40 ads, Nefarian descends upon the raid and covers the entire floor in fire. And if you're not wearing your Onyxia cloak, the fire will kill you in one shot. So tell me why the 5 minutes we spent doing loot prior to pulling the boss was not enough time for over half the raid to equip their Onyxia cloaks? We're not gonna make it.
No, a lot of people don't have cloaks on. I do that as well.
Get behind the throne!
Now, you can stand behind the throne when the fire goes out, and this will avoid being hit, but it's generally considered rat behavior because you lose a bunch of uptime. Thankfully, though, we managed to get through the fire and the flames with 0 casualties. Nefarian now lands, someone rips aggro, and I die for their fucking sins.
Somebody pop Rick.
Why don't you have battle shout?
I'm doing it.
Holy shit!
I'm gonna reincarnate and I'm gonna start rezzing.
What is this? What is this run?
Yeah, we actually might not. What started off as a sarcastic little joke was
No
now
way.
beginning to sound like my actual fate. Every time you wiped a Nefarian, you have to wait around 15 minutes for him to respawn, and as you know, I'm kind of on the clock here, so...
Dude, if we don't make it, I will get Barney B tattooed on my knuckles.
Perfect.
Well, now the
my
stakes have
God.
never been higher, or there's never been a better time to throw this
no.
shit, depending on who you're asking, of course. Me,
What is
personally, I
this?
kind of want the mount, but
Who
in
thinks
any
of
other
this game
timeline,
design?
he was getting those knuckle tattoos.
Yeah.
Okay, time's up. Let's do this. Barney Beekeeper. Please put your cloaks on. Please put your... So we start the second pull. This time, everyone in the raid is prepared with their Oni cloaks, and we breeze through phase
It's
1.
easy, yeah.
The tank is also generously
Great.
given the 2
Okay,
seconds
they're gonna kill
required
it.
to take aggro
Problem
of the boss,
solved.
so things are actually looking good. Now let's talk about Nefarian's main mechanic. Every so often, Nefarian will target a specific class and do what's called a class call. This is
Bro, can I just come back real quick? I just want to go back real quick. Look how good the numbers look in Classic WoW. It is like busting a nut on your screen whenever you do a special attack and your auto attacks crit at the same time. Look
Every
at that.
so often, Nefarian will target a specific class and do what's called a class call. This is essentially some
Look at
kind of
that. No,
debuff
look
or
at those
Joker's
numbers.
trick targeted at one
Beautiful.
specific class. And depending on your class, these can range from being the most minor inconvenience conceivable to being capable of causing the breakdown of the entire raid and a potential wipe.
Yes.
In the case of rogues, you get teleported in front of Nefarian and cannot move.
You
If
just
the
turn him
tank
around.
doesn't react fast enough, this happens. And you want to know the best part about this? There's literally 0 counterplay on my part.
Wow.
I can't do anything
Amazing.
about this. I love when mechanics don't
Fun
test
game.
the individual player ability and instead put your hands in the life of some other fucking schmuck. I'm actually not mad. I mean, okay, half the raid is dead, but this could
Nefarian's so
absolutely
easy,
be a
you
kill.
can
We
still
just have
kill
to
it.
play perfect and get really lucky on the next couple of
Why are
bosses.
you behind the
It could
boss?
happen.
Why are you behind?
Ice block.
We're gonna make it.
Keep him up. New class call coming.
He can do it.
Warrior, we're gonna be fucked.
He can do. He's got the shield.
So
He can easily tank Nefarian.
Now, you guys want to know what's worse than one warrior call? Oh, I'll get to that in just a
It's so
second.
easy.
Because first, I gotta tell you that if we get this boss to 20%, all the ads that we killed in phase 1, all 40 of them, respawn at the same time and charge the raid. So now let
It's
me return
easy.
to my original question. What's worse than one warrior call? That's right, 2 warrior calls, with
There
the
it
second
is.
one happening during the final ad phase. And
Bro,
now
I actually thought the warrior call was my favorite one because it gave me an excuse to go into berserker stance while tanking the boss.
I think I'm just gonna let this clip play out because it is so difficult to make raiding sound interesting.
there it is, right there.
I got him.
Yep.
Gorgo, do you have shield wall?
Use it.
No.
Use shield wall.
Okay.
Use a stone
Barney,
shield.
there you go, bud.
Come on, you can do it. Fire. There it is. Wow.
We had
10-minute
Don't
fight.
worry, Barney.
That was, some guy in chat says that was tough.
Remember how earlier I left the raid
Oh,
and
that
joined
was
another
tough.
party to get summoned
Oh.
to Tanaris? Well, actually that did nothing. I just love faking you guys out. It's just so
Yeah.
easy every time. And you're thinking, I can't keep getting away with it. Oh, I will. You're already in my web and you don't even know it yet. Wow, red shard acquired. Right, you ready? 3,
What?
2, 1.
Wow. Whoa, look at that. I love how every guild that raided in Classic WoW has a screenshot that looks just like that. I think that's so cool.
So now we're back
Yeah,
on the
that's what-
engineer's
we had
quest
that too.
line. If you'll remember, we are currently looking for the 3 items he needs to try and make the Arcanite Baba
Yep.
Booey. But as we found out earlier, his copy of Draconic for Dummies has been stolen, and a ransom note was left in its place.
We've got your book, gnome. If you ever want to see it again, you'll do exactly as we ask.
So, alongside Bon Hoovy, Sarsis, Merrills, and Darien, we head to the location detailed within the ransom note, and, disguised as the engineer, I place a big bag of fake gold at the edge of a cliff. A few
Bro,
anxiety-
like, no shit, like, y'all see.
Riddled minutes
this
later, one
mob is
Dr.
really hard to
Weevil
kill.
comes flying in on a flying machine.
Look at
but
this.
for real, why did they make it take 5 minutes for this guy to spawn in? The whole time we were waiting, I thought I fucked the quest up.
I did
swear,
too.
Every single quest in this quest line is specifically tailored to fuck with your mental. Anyway, the
Yes,
doctor
it
takes
is.
one look at our disguise and sees right through it. Who could have seen
It's
this
Dr.
coming? He
Weevil.
then summons a giant gorilla to kill us and escapes in his flying
This
machine.
gorilla
I
is
pop
no
adrenaline
joke.
rush and evasion and
This
start
is a
rogue
big
tanking
dick
number
gorilla.
2. I figure with a healer, I can probably tank this for
No,
the duration
you
of my
can't.
evasion and then vanish the threat off to the warrior. Unfortunately for me, Blizzard's patented, it really emulates early 2000s internet. Spell bashing technology meant that I actually didn't cast Vanish at all. I lay dead in
Surprise!
the snow like the pathetic little gnome bitch I am as my team once again carries me to victory. If you'll remember, Merrills was the mage who helped me get my Mallet of Zul'Farrak all those
Oh my
months ago.
God.
And here I am yet again with my content beholden to his kindness.
A year
I truly
later.
couldn't do this without my friends. However, because Bon Hoovy is a druid, he is useless and isn't carrying resurrection materials. He is instead going to leave it up to chance with cables, as will Merrills and Darien. Well, I
Oh
think
my
we know how this
God.
one goes. Yup.
That's an L. That's an L. We've got one more.
Please. Thank God. I'm up!
There it is.
Merrills then opens a portal
Easy.
to Thunderbluff for me, and I fly to the engineer in Tanaris to tell him that the plan failed. And also, because we didn't keep to our end of the ransom, Dr. Weevil has obliterated the Draconic for Dummies book. Quest complete. So now our only option is to track down the last known surviving copy of Draconic for Dummies, which, because it's the Scarab Lord questline, has actually had all 8 of its pages torn out and scattered to the
Isn't
wind.
that convenient?
Once I find all 8 chapters, I can
Yeah.
use this book binding to refashion the book. This questline's never gonna end, is it?
This is just
one quick stop off in Gadget.
Even at level 80, this took me like a month to do. Like, I was playing casually. I wasn't doing it like every day. But like, this took a really, really long time, even at level 80. It was insane. I can't imagine going back and doing this now.
And to meet with this chef, quest complete, and to discuss the possibility of acquiring a fat chicken. He tells me no such chicken exists, but does clue us in on one Lord Lakmiran, a chimera who, with proper preparation, may or may not look like a 500-pound chicken. And whilst I'm here in Tanaris, I figure I may as well hand in the red shard to our good friend Anachronos, who once again rewards us with a completely useless piece of jewelry. Quest complete.
What was that tweet? Wait, what was that tweet? Found the elusive Barney today, but he was in a Scarab Lord rush and didn't try to sell me a Lucky Charm sad face. Oh shit. People are tracking him down.
Chapter 7 acquired.
Wow.
Welcome.
This
to
is the
Alcaz
hard
Island.
one.
With the Blackwing Lair chapter safely obtained.
Do y'all remember back in Classic WoW Beta, whenever I went in and I tried to fight this boss and we brought like 300 people and he killed every single one of us? This is the boss.
I was summoned to Alcaz Island to murder Dr. Weevil in cold blood. After all, he's the reason this quest has become so long. I mean, because he has chapter 1 for some reason. 2 birds, 1 stone, if you ask me. However, Dr. Weevil is absolutely not a pushover. Even with a raid group of 20, he is still incredibly challenging due to his menacing mechanics and large health bar. Every 6 or so seconds, Dr. Weevil stuns everyone in line of sight of him, and every 20 or so seconds, he mind controls a random ally who will now be out of commission for the remainder of the encounter. Now, I can sit here and slice old
They gain a
to
ton of
craft
extra
some
health and
underdog
everything.
narrative about how this boss was difficult to overcome, but rest assured, this will be the 11th time we have destroyed Dr. Weevil, and we have become exceedingly efficient at it.
There
Chapter
it
1
is.
acquired. Also, lore tidbit, this is the island where Varian Rin was kept, in prison.
Yep,
And
down
then
at the
this
bottom.
quest is the only thing they did with this location in the game.
Hey, Barney,
I actually didn't mind that. I wish there were more things in the game that just existed for the sake of existing. And it doesn't have to be like a massive quest line or anything like that. There just has to be like a couple of things. You know, like that Panda Isle that we went to yesterday on Lost Ark? That was so fucking good.
Ranch, right?
Yeah, I have.
Oh. Farming the Feldarts?
Clothed rogue in the marsh at Sunken Temple.
The Acranius one.
Big, long quest. I'm not doing this bit. Now, you might be wondering, why am I in a level 40 dungeon? Well, you see, the green shard was given to a green dragon named Aranicus. And this is where Aranicus lives.
Is a
wait,
bitch.
isn't this place, like, super evil? Well, yes. It's no secret that Aranicus and his crew were driven insane by the very same old god they thought they had vanquished deep within the temple. But he has the green shard, so I'm not really left any choice. But as I enter Aranicus' chamber, I'm not met with a large green dragon, but rather a shade and Malfurion Stormrage. Malfurion informs me that Aranicus can't be here right now because he's busy terrorizing the Emerald Dream. And if we want to get that green shard, we'll have to summon Aranicus from the Emerald Dream and purge him of his corruption. Now, do you want to see some fucking sweaty, disgusting, I can't believe you even bothered to think this far ahead gameplay? Check out these summons. Bam! Random Teldrassil location to hand in this quest to the Wisp. Quest complete. But wait, I'm not done. Follow-up summon to the Shrine of Remulus in Moonglade to hand that very same quest in immediately.
Bro, this is 100%. This is actually proof that Barney is the main character of the server. Straight up. Like, the actual main character of the server. It's that easy.
Quest complete. Any percent world record,
yeah,
by
this
the way.
is.
I know it might not look like much
right
to you guys because, I mean, you're watching the video, right? It's all cut up and edited for you. But every time you see me get summoned, these are pre-planned summon teams that real people have had to level up and put their character in that position.
Those are real people that probably are not getting paid for this.
Gamers.
Imagine that.
So spread around Azeroth are these 4 Emerald Dream portals, outside of which roam packs of elite green dragonkin. Except for the Duskwood one, but just forget about that one for now. To summon Aranicus back into our realm, we are going to need to obtain a Nightmare Fragment from each area. Actually, cut the music. Fuck the script. I need a real talk. These Nightmare Fragments drop from the elite mobs that you can find outside the portals, right? And you think, cool, just go kill some elites.
But those are really hard to kill, yeah.
And this is where I make the music creep back in, okay? God, I'm gay. No, of course it's not that easy. This is the Scarab Lord questline where every quest is specifically tailored to make you want to exit game. So here's the thing with this quest, right? We still to this day do not know the drop chance of the Nightmare Fragments. Me personally, I want to say it's 1%. Based on my experience, I think it's 1%. Now, killing elites for a 1% drop is already fucking gay.
It's not that bad. Like, the way that you do it, see, this is the thing, is that the way you farm something like that has a low drop chance is you do it 1 mob at a time. You never go and try to do like 10 mobs at a time, or you never try to think like how many it's going to take. You kill 1 at a time. 1 at a time. 1, 2, 3 at a time.
The thing with these packs are, they actually require a small raid, because they slap. Alliance players might not know this, but on the Horde side,
you can kite them all the way.
These mobs from Ashenvale to Orgrimmar to just kill everyone in the city. But wait, I'm still not done. The other thing with these mobs is that if you kill all the packs and you don't get the drop, you have to wait like an hour for the respawns. There are people in my guild that spent literally days on just this part of the quest alone.
What?
It's not looking good. So this is me, and I'm in the Undercity picking up Draconic for Dummies, Chapter 4.
Just do it.
Thanks for watching.
Wow. Damn.
Chapter 4 acquired. Welcome to the Hinterlands. I grabbed literally anyone who was online and willing to help, and
I feel like if you were able to get the Dr. Weevil one, I think Barney's gonna get it. I think Barney's gonna get Scarab Lord. I'm pretty confident about it.
We may as well start here. And I think I'm gonna let this clip of our first pull just play out. It's a clip where you say something like, I fucking hate this game. By the way, first mob, first fucking fragment, let's go!
Wow.
Well, that was lucky. Or a terrible omen. There's something with me getting really, really lucky, and then immediately getting really unlucky. Oh boy, I sure hope that doesn't happen here. And even though we don't have summons to Feralis, I can just edit the video like, wow, it's like I got summoned. Now, I wish I could tell you that I was lucky enough to get the drop on my first pull again, but it is with a shit-eating grin that I can tell you it only took 20 minutes for me to drop my second fragment. Got it.
20 minutes is still really fucking good. Like, unless it's taking you more than 2 hours to farm something, it's just casual shit.
We're out of here.
When I start Lost Ark, I'm gonna do the Lost Ark. I'm gonna watch one video about the Lost Ark shop, and then I'm going to watch. I'm gonna start playing. That's my plan.
We're going,
After this.
we're going to Ashendale.
Oh, yeah.
And now I'm actually not
Took days
smiling
for some?
anymore because this
Then
is
just farm
for
more.
sure just a terrible omen. Also, I forgot to mention the reason I did the portals in this order was because currently, right now in Ashenvale, there's an Alliance person on this questline too. I had
Oh, so
initially
you're
wanted
fighting
to
him.
be diplomatic about the situation, but with only 24 hours left.
Look, you gotta do what you gotta do. It's a dog-eat-dog world out there. Fuck him. Fuck him. What a mistake. What a fucking mistake. Oh my god, what a mistake. They should not have done this. I guarantee this is gonna... Dude's legit AFK?
Jeez, they could at least make it hard, like, at least make it fun. The Alliance had, as is customary around these parts, failed to put up any meaningful resistance. We took the leader of their group hostage and told those motherfuckers Ashenvale's closed.
What? No. That's some bullshit.